What are your thoughts on this? Ivanka Trump, she's laid low. She's not part of the Trump campaign. I don't see her out speaking, but she's invited to testify. Could this potentially be damaging to Trump?
It could be, Annmarie. It's good to be with you and Joe. This is the last thing she wanted to do. She wanted to be done with the whole Trump organization, Trump trials, Trump White House. I mean, she wants to get back to her old life at the Met Gala, and this is not going to get her there. She's now being reminded of her role in the company, even though she is not a named defendant. But perhaps she could offer some information that would be damaging. And look, once she gets under oath, she has to tell the truth, or else that's a separate crime of perjury. So you can see why she did not want this to happen.
When you add it to the other news of the last week or so, Dave, Sidney Powell and others in Georgia, Mark Meadows in Washington, really adds to this idea that the walls are closing in. How many of these deals are going to add up to information that we couldn't have received otherwise? When you're cutting a deal with the former chief of staff of the White House, who could have been directly involved in this, he must have some serious goods, no?
Mark Meadows knows where all the bodies are buried, metaphorically speaking. That's the big get. Less so for Sidney Powell and Jenna Ellis and Scott Hall and Ken Cheeseborough. Those are his lawyers, at least 3 out of 4 of them. But Mark Meadows was his chief of staff. He was there in the room when it happened. It is unclear, though, whether he has a cooperation deal with prosecutors. What has come out is that he was given immunity in exchange for his grand jury testimony, because you can't force someone to testify at a grand jury where they can incriminate themselves unless you give them immunity. Whether that extends beyond the grand jury and he's actively cooperating in exchange for a non-prosecuting agreement is left to be decided.
So, Dave, a lot of this news is flying around, these different trials, who's making immunity deals, who's, you know, when you have someone like Mark Meadows, it seems like he's cooperating. What should we be paying attention to, and what's noise?
I want to see if Mark Meadows has entered into a non-prosecution agreement. I want to see if he's flipped. And we won't know that for a while. Right now, Mark Meadows is an unindicted co-conspirator in the federal case, but he is an indicted conspirator in the Georgia case. In Georgia, he's been indicted. And so it's going to be very tricky, because if he speaks to Georgia, then that could be used against him in D.C. and possibly vice versa, although there's some tricky immunity issues that we don't want to get into right now because it's complex. But I'm waiting to see if Mark Meadows flips, because he's the guy who could take Trump down. I'm less concerned, for Trump's sake, from some of these lawyers who were out front, like Sidney Powell and Jenna Ellis, but it's unclear the extent that they meddled behind the scenes to create the coup.
So when we think about this daunting task of running for president and managing 4 indictments plus other legal challenges over the next year, how does this work out in terms of timeline? We've talked about this before. Now that you've taken a couple of these potential trials, co-defendants off the board, does it move Donald Trump's trials around as well?
There are 2 reasons why Trump has to be really upset at these plea deals. First, it increases the likelihood that his trial will take place before the election. Because if
it does,
right? Because if Sidney Powell and Ken Cheeseborough's trials went first, then that would take 6 months, and there's no way they could try Trump until after the election.
Wow.
And secondly, he wanted to see the prosecutor's case. He wanted the prosecutors to show their hand. Well, now they're not having a trial before Trump's trial. I suspect Trump will be one of the first defendants to go to trial.
He doesn't get a test drive before he's actually in there himself.
No way. He is going to see it for the first time like the rest of us.
So, Annmarie, that means we're covering a campaign and potentially a trial all before anyone ever votes.
Yeah, how does that work, Dave? How does he just sit in these courtrooms and makes that his campaign? The fact that he says this is a witch hunt against him, but how does that resonate with voters when you see his own lawyers striking deals?
It's going to be harder for him to make a defense that he was following his lawyer's advice, the advice of counsel defense, when his lawyers have pled guilty to these crimes, right? If a lawyer tells you to rob a bank and you do so, you can't claim, I just relied on my lawyers, especially if your lawyer was one of the bank robbers. So that's going to be bad for him that his lawyers cut deals. I think ultimately when he goes to trial in the D.C. case, because I think that's going to be the first case that goes, and that's the one I believe will go before the election. You have Judge Chuck in there, who is not suffering fools lightly. And Jack Smith's case there is built for speed. I think he is going to rise in the polls in the primary, but I think among swing voters, I think it looks bad when the leading candidate for president in the GOP is standing trial, could serve prison time.
It's remarkable. What do you make of him showing up in person at the trial in New York? He berates the judge, the prosecutor in the lobby before he goes into the courtroom, and is hit with now 2 gag orders. People may not realize this, but we saw Donald Trump on the stand for a minute this week. He was called up to defend his remarks, and the judge hit him with a $10,000 fine. We just keep doing this while the trial continues?
Yeah. And Joe, you said something interesting. You said we saw him on the stand, but we didn't see him on the stand because New York doesn't allow cameras in the courtroom.
No cameras.
And I blame New York, not you for that. But the fact is we need to have more transparency in our criminal justice system.
Well, how about the federal courts?
It's crazy. It's like we're back in the 60s. We have the capability, the technology to put the cameras in. Otherwise, you're going to have so many conspiracy theories. Trump will come outside the courtroom every day and he'll say, look, the judge just said I'm the most innocent person he's ever seen. I mean, something to that effect.
Right.
And we won't know it because we won't be there. So I don't know. We've never been down this road before. This is uncharted territory. Who knows where this is going to lead?
Dave, I just have one last question for you. If you see how all his former attorneys are now dealing with in these trials, who is going to want to represent the former president going forward?
It's tough to have a client who keeps making these admissions in public. It makes your job much harder. Chris Kise, I think, is the best lawyer on this team. Chris Kise was a former Florida Solicitor General. He's well respected, and he got his money up front. He got a $3 million retainer up front. And he was shoved to the sidelines because Boris Epshteyn, who is Donald Trump's in-house consigliere, who has never tried a case himself, didn't like Chris Kise. But now Chris Kise is the guy who's trying the case in New York. He's the best lawyer. He's the one who should be out front. And if he doesn't do so, then woe to him.
A $3 million retainer. I guess that's why he's already spent $40 million on legal fees.
Well, he has all these supporters out there who are spending every last dollar of their Social Security disability check, sending their money to Trump to pay for his legal defense.